Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Mongooli Show. It's been an absolutely bananas week for Marvel Strike Force, so let's dive right into it. We'll go over all the stuff from last week before we get into the new weekly blog and tell you what you're going to need to be doing over the weekend and beyond to get the best out of Marvel Strike Force. Let's get right into it. All right, now first things first, we have the 8.1 release notes. Now, for a lot of people, they're kind of upset that they don't give us more of the release notes. I kind of like the way they do this so that the weekly blogs are a little bit more impactful, so you don't know everything instantly. But I understand if some people are like, no, I'd rather have like the 8.1 notes be huge and give me all the details all at once. Sometimes it can be a little bit of information overload. Anyways. So what we know for now is that there's just some quality of life fixes, especially if you have the Awakened ability in the Raid Store and you've already bought all that you need. It will be grayed out now. I know it wasn't for a little while there, and that was causing some confusion for some people, so this should help. There was a fix for the icons in gameplay where if you have, like, let's say 10 bleed, instead of you having 10 little icons, it'll actually have the one bleed icon with a little 10 beside it. This is a huge quality update. I think this makes it much, much cleaner to be able to see what exactly is going on, and I really like it. You're also going to see that the maximum number of raid sims has been updated from 10 to 16 in Incursion Raid 2 First Strike and Incursion Raid 2. Just a nice quality of life thing. Not going to really change anybody's game all that much. The Temporal Dimension event started last Friday, right around the same time that the blog did. And we didn't touch on it all that much because it turned out to be a non-event. But when you logged in for the very first time, the first time you started on Friday night, it was actually pretty engaging and fun. I saw a lot of content creators having fun with this when, unfortunately, I was stuck at work. Now, what was going on was it was really, really good until you hit Node 7. Once you hit Node 7, you either got incredibly lucky or incredibly unlucky. And when I say that, what I mean is you logged in and there would be 5 Infinity Watch characters there. And when you killed that 5th one, you would spawn in 2 Doctor Strange Heartless, 2 Morgan Le Fays, 2 Agatha Harkness, and 1 Quicksilver. If you managed to one-shot that Quicksilver, you had no issues whatsoever. You could make it through the rest of the node and continue on with your day. If you don't one-shot that Quicksilver, he would go into an infinite loop where every time it was his turn, he would use his ultimate. He would give ultimate energy to all the other characters, and it was one-shotting people who were max level. My Cabal is level 100, gear tier 18, not entirely, 7 stars or anything, but pretty strong. I got 2 diamonds on Namor. They were getting one-shotted before I even had a chance to take a turn against this team. I was stuck in a loop where I tried reviving like 3 or 4 times and spending power cores, and I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not making any progress whatsoever. They're gonna have to fix this, and sure enough, they did. So thankfully, unfortunately, what their fix was to absolutely nerf the event to the point where once they fixed it, all you had to do is hit the sim button and you won. Now, the prizes for this were incredible. I managed to get not only 3 stars on Spider-Gwen, but also I got an orb that gave me 3 stars on Spider-Weaver, so I'm very happy with how this event turned out. But it would have been nice if they kept the challenge level up, but just taking away that bug that made it impossible. You know what I mean? But here we are. So they gave 2,500 temporal health packs, which are completely useless at this point because you don't need them. 500 power cores, which is great, and 3 million gold to everybody as sort of a sorry for messing up the event. I've said it before, I'd rather have a game that worked properly than compensation, but at the same time, this is pretty decent compensation, so I'm not going to be too mad about it. Speaking of compensation, there was also an issue with the the black, white, and red event when it first came out, where what you're trying to do is get as high as you can in the arena to get some payouts during the arena payout section. But unfortunately, on day 1, some people were not receiving the payouts from the event when they got their arena payouts. I believe the fix for this was fairly quick and reimbursed people exactly what they should have got. So I don't believe any compensation is coming for this one because you should have been made whole regardless. But it was an unfortunate way to kick off the event. And of course, one of the bigger stories from last week was the Envoy Cosmic Crucible Tournament that happened on Wednesday. This was live over at twitch.tv/The Mongooli Show or on 7 other channels, depending on which content creator you wanted to watch. And this was promoted by Scopely, and I think this was an absolute blast. Now, I'm not entirely sure I want this to happen every single season because it might get stale if it's just the same thing every 6 to 8 weeks. But if they do this like once or twice a year, I think this is such a great way to promote the game. It's such a great way to promote the content creators, and it's just a fun way for the audience. I know there's a lot of people who like, I couldn't care less, and that's totally fine. But the people who were there in our chat rooms all had like fairly unanimously positive things to say about this. So I think this is a win. Duelam won the day at 3-0. Huge congratulations to him. I promise you his head is not exploding. He's not rubbing it in all of our faces in group chats behind the scenes. Updog got second place, Dorky Dad in third, Mobile Gamer in fourth, Pathfinder in fifth, I took sixth, and Bendable Straws seventh, and Ambassador Al in eighth. Now, as far as my placement in this tournament, I had an absolute blast. I thought it was so much fun. I was so happy when I did get asked. I have some people wondering why I was in this tournament and not like Purple Sticky or Valley Flying. Those guys were asked, is my understanding, and it didn't work out for their schedules. So that's all that it is. So it just happened that it got down the line to where I was invited. I'm incredibly grateful that it was an opportunity. This was so much fun. This was great for my brand. It was a huge accomplishment, I think, to come in sixth. I know a lot of people will be like, you got 6 out of 8. That's not great. Look at the murderers that I'm up against. The fact that I beat anybody is impressive, to me at least. If you're not impressed, so be it. But I'm taking this as a colossal win, and I'm really, really happy with this. If they ever do this again, I'm super torn. One part of me is like, I had a blast. I would love to do it again if they do it again. The other half of me is like, Run 7 was running like a Sports Center style show where he was like having interviews and going back and forth. And I'm like, that sounds like a blast. So if I get invited again, I'll gladly participate. If I don't, I will very happily join Run on his stream. I think either way, it's going to be a great time. Keep your eye out if they ever do this again. It's also worth mentioning that they gave out a promotional code during the event. You've probably seen it online, but in case you haven't, if you go here to the main web store, click up these little lines up at the top here, go to new player gift, and when it brings you to the screen, type in CC Envoy. You might have to do it a couple of times. I've heard people saying it didn't work for them the first time, but most people by the second or third try, it does work. I can't redeem it now as I've already redeemed it, but CC Envoy, all caps, not caps, I don't think it really matters. Hit that redeem button, try it a couple times if you have to. It will give you, I believe, 3 million gold, 250 L4 training materials, and 200 power cores, but a pretty decent little gift for free, to be perfectly honest. Another way that they promoted this thing is they had a ballot system that you could fill out where you could put the place of all 8 characters. Now, I was told that there's over 40,000 combinations of what that could look like, and nobody got it absolutely right. But there were 6 people who did get it, I think 6 of the 8 correct. So to those 6 people, I say congratulations. I believe you got 8 mega orbs in the mail. One of the people in Duelim's chat showed him that not only did he get those 8 orbs, but he did in fact get the jackpot off of it. He got the 100 million gold. So that guy's having a great week. Yesterday we received Yesterday, we got this new update about the token system. Now, we know that we're going to be setting tokens for Old Man Logan during the trial event, which starts later today. Or maybe already by the time this is actually filmed. I don't know. So what we're going to be looking at here is tokens that will actually be giving you a character at a certain level. Now, they will decide preemptively what level that is. But the really important part is if you're not at the level that the token is, you will not get fully rewarded. So we're not sure at this time whether or not you get to choose when you use the token, but sometimes it might be worthwhile holding off if you do get that option. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about here. So you can see in this picture, we have unlocked Black Knight using a token system. Now the character has gone from being locked to level 65, star rank 5, gear tier 12, abilities 6664, and ISO 8 T1 level 4, which means you don't have to spend any of the resources to get this character up to a semi-playable level, which is not bad. Now it does mention that for the ISO 8, there is a class that'll be named, but you get the ISO 8 for all 5 classes. So if you decide, like most people have him as a fortifier, so they might be like, a fortifier is a good idea, but you could make him a striker and all the ISOs would be spent for that as well. So you're actually in pretty good shape. Having all the abilities at 6664, if nothing else, just saves you a bunch of clicks, as well as, I mean, obviously energy and stuff like that. Now, the problem potentially comes in. I'm not trying to be like a naysayer when I say this. I'm just letting you know. If this character unlocks at level 65, let's say you're level 50, you will unlock this character at level 50. You will get the star rank will be the same, but the gear tier and the abilities up to whatever level 50 will allow. You will not get a level 65 character when you're 50. It will not happen. When you are 50 and you hit level 51, he will not upgrade with you. So whatever you unlock him at, that is what he will be at. So if you are level 50 and you get a Black Knight, you kind of have to ask yourself, do I want to wait till I hit 65 and get the most out of this character? Or do I want to unlock him right now so that I can use him for the next 15 levels? I mean, that's a pretty extreme situation. In that situation, I would absolutely say unlock him right away and use him for 15 levels. But maybe you're at like 64 and you're like, okay, maybe I'll just wait a day or two till I hit 65. I don't know exactly how this is going to work out. We're kind of speculating on a lot of things here. Even though there is a blog here, there are still some questions that we have for how exactly these are going to work, but it's pretty cool actually seeing it in motion. And I think the token system in theory is a good idea. I'm still not sure that I love it for a release method for something like Old Man Logan, but for older characters or a way for people to catch up, I do think it's a good thing. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, but that's where I'm standing for now. And the last blog that we have dropped is actually about spotlight raids and gives us a bunch more information on these things. Now, when these came out, there were some content creators, myself included, who are not fans of this because you are restricted to using only 2 different teams. I still wish you did have a little bit more access than that, but everything else about this seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's just dive in and try and keep our mind open about this while we take a look. All right, the first thing we take a look here is the actual raid itself. You can see the first 2 nodes are non-mythic. You can bring in pretty much anything you want on those 2. After that, you are forced to use the Spider Society for a couple of nodes, and then Alpha Flight for more nodes after that. Now, the rewards for this seem like they're going to be absolutely incredible, so you are going to want to work with your alliance and make sure that you do have your Spider Society and your Alpha Flight teams fairly heavily built for this. The Alpha Flight team is primarily a war defense team, but it does have some raid callouts, which is really nice that it will help out with this. I don't know that they're going to be good enough to actually participate in the incursion raids. We'll have to check that out at a later time, but it does get the raid callout, so it will help with these nodes, which is very, very nice. And we already know Spider Society is an absolute boss team, and they're going to be great in Cosmic Crucible coming up this season, so they're definitely one you're going to want to spend some resources on. Now, there are going to be 3 different difficulties. You've got normal difficulty, which is going to require T1 level 5 ISO 8. That was normal difficulty. And then difficulty 1 is tier 2 level 1 ISO 8. And difficulty 2 is tier 2 level 4 ISO 8. You will unlock the newest difficulty by completing 50% of the difficulty that you're currently on, and you can see that you can get to 50% without Alpha Flight. So this event comes out on May 29th. Alpha Flight will not be available by then, but if your entire alliance has enough Spider Society characters, you should be able to hit that 50% marker without them. Now, as soon as they come out, that'll make that easier, obviously, but at least you can get to difficulty 2 pretty quickly, I would hope, if your entire alliance is participating, because you need pretty much everybody to get to that 50%. Now, as far as the rewards go, you can see there's T4 ability material, Armory 19 orb fragments, and Crimson Gear orb fragments, which are all fantastic, as well as the Spotlight orb fragment and heaps of gold. Not tons anymore, now it's heaps. All right, so what we know of the evolution of how the raid system is going to work is Alpha Flights are just going to be known as Greek raids from now on, and the Gamma and the Beta raids are going away. Now, the number one takeaway from that is make sure you go and claim every single one of your Alpha, Beta, and Greek or Gamma orbs right now. Like, I know there's no open all button, but those orbs are going to go away. They're straight up telling you, make sure you claim them all now because they will disappear. So first thing you want to do is go check out that store, maybe put a movie on or something. If you got a couple 100 of them to go through, just watch something else while you're just clicking that button over and over again. It is unfortunate we don't have the claim all button at the moment, but so be it. Make sure you get those rewards. Now, as far as the new Spotlight raid orbs go, you're going to be getting various character shards, but you're also guaranteed 5 shards for Void Knight in each orb, which makes these fairly valuable at first, but quickly this will turn into Mr. Negative on the internet, where like, yeah, he's great until you've got him, and then he just will not go away. So they do say they'll periodically update the contents of these Spotlight raid orbs, so hopefully they do that fairly quickly. I don't know about you guys. I took the 100 shards for Void Knight when they offered the Void Knight or Red Goblin. So mine is getting pretty up there. I definitely have a ways to go to get him to 7 red. But if this lasts for 2 or 3 seasons, I'm definitely going to have pretty much just Ultimus fuel after a while. So I know that he's great for new players. I understand that they want to keep him around for everybody to get him up to 7 red. But I hope that this isn't one of those situations where he is the reward for like the next year and a half. We'll have to see. And the last thing we're going to touch on is the new Spotlight raids. You can see it right here. You're going to have 2 nodes where you can bring in anything as long as they're not mythic, and then a couple of nodes of Spider Society and a couple of nodes of Alpha Flight. Now, my hope is that if they keep bringing back the Spotlight raids, what they will essentially do is once there's a new team out, Alpha Flight will take over the Spider Society thing. Spider Society will be gone, and whatever the new team is will take over the Alpha Flight. So this is constantly evolving. I think that'll be better than if it just stays Spider Society and Alpha Flight forever, although that would be nice to get the easier rewards. But we don't know that 100%. I think that's just a good idea going forward. Now, there are 3 difficulties. There's going to be normal, difficulty 1, and difficulty 2. You only need to get 50% to move on to the next difficulty level. As you can tell, you can actually do that without having Alpha Flight at all. if your entire alliance can clear all of the Spider Society nodes, you will get 50%. So even before Alpha Flight is available, you should be able to get to difficulty 2. And then once Alpha Flight is available, you can start working towards your 60, 70, 80% fills, and then eventually your 100%. This whole thing starts on May 29th, which is just 1 week away. So make sure you and your alliance have your Spider Society completely ready to go for that event so you can start cracking these out day 1. So something that's just been showing up is that apparently some people are getting more of the aged adamantium orbs than they're supposed to be. That's not showing up properly in store. So Scopely actually took those and the bamboo orbs down for a little while. They're back up now. And in fact, you'll see that you probably got some form of compensation. I got 1,400 or 14,000 shards, which is enough for 7 orbs. Absolutely nothing of any value in any of them, of course. But it's interesting to see because the people who did get these mixed up numbers, I saw somebody's account who had like way more than enough for 7 stars on every single character that was in that orb. I want to say he got something like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of orbs. It was insane. I don't know the exact numbers. Maybe I shouldn't be reporting on it if I don't know for sure. But essentially, we don't know how many people are affected by this. It doesn't sound like it's a large number. The fact that I only got 7 orbs makes me think that it was probably not many people that were affected. But for the people who were affected, they got, like, they're going to get a 7 Old Man Logan for sure. So I guess congratulations to them. And actually, this just came out while I was reading that last one. It turns out the people that were affected are not going to be on the leaderboards. So yes, they will be able to get their 5-star Logan, but if they're not on the leaderboards, they actually can't get a 6 or a 7-star Old Man Logan, which is potentially worse for them depending on what they had before they open those orbs. Most likely it's better for them, but potentially it's worse. So either way, they're not on the leaderboard, so you don't have to worry about them. They also mentioned that they upgraded the leaderboard just to include some gold and some training modules for the top 5,000 players. It's not a lot of gold, it's like 4 million or something, but it's better than nothing. All right, and that's pretty much it for what was going on last week. Let's jump into this week's blog and take a look at what we're going to be doing for the next 7 days. All right, the blog for this week is called Oh Canada, and it's going to focus on the Alpha Flight team and their kits, as well as the Season 8 room rules for Cosmic Crucible. Now, we're not going to touch on those in this video because it'll just make the video super long and quite dry. What you need to know is that Wolverine and Sunspot are both getting reworks, and that Northstar is the absolute star of the team. So if you want to check those out, you can read the blog yourself, or I'm sure other people will have very detailed breakdowns of them, but I just find it slows the pacing of the show down too much. So let's just jump into the rest of the blog. All right, there's a message saying, keep an eye out for inbox messages alerting you to the character availability. We're going to get diamonds for Nova, Quicksilver, and Green Goblin Classic in the Elite Store, which is great. We're a little overdue on those. Void Knight is being the Spotlight Raid Orb, which we already talked about, guaranteed 5 in every orb. Gwenom is coming to the Blitz Store and the Blitz Orb, and Red Goblin is coming to the Cosmic Crucible Store. This is a fantastic team, and I can't wait to get them all to 7 stars. All right, it is time for another vote. Not just quite yet, but next Friday. We're going to be voting between who we want Karen's mentor to be. Now, it was set in stone that Moon Knight was going to be one of the options, and we all voted last time for Morbius with those wings because we thought that looked cool. So that's your options. You're going to be voting on whether Morbius or Moon Knight is going to be her mentor going forward, and which one of them is going to make it onto the team. Now, it does make mention that Morbius is urging Karen to be cautious, whereas Moon Knight wants to strike out immediately. I don't know if that's going to affect her actual kit or just the characters that are going to be on the side with her. Personally, I just recently unlocked 2 diamonds on Morbius, so that's the route I'm going, even though Morbius and Moon Knight are both at level 1 for me. But I'll probably be voting for Morbius just because I'm being selfish and I have 2 diamonds on him. But either way, I'm fine with either of these characters. I couldn't really care less either way. So look for that starting on May 29th. And again, you're going to be getting 50 power cores and 50 campaign energy per vote. So make sure you vote every single day. Now, on the website, it straight up says that they're not going to be adjusting players' ranks between seasons like they have in previous seasons. So if you're at Diamond 1, let's say, you should stay at Diamond 1. Now, early reports, myself included, are saying that people are in fact seeing themselves drop down. I'm now currently in Platinum 2, and I was like right at the very edge of Diamond 1/Platinum 3. Like I was right around there, and now I'm in Platinum 2. I'm hoping this gets reversed and fixed. I've heard some people say that it did get changed. Mine has not changed yet, but hopefully that's coming. You can start matchmaking for Season 8 right away at the time of this recording, and it should start on Monday at its regular time. Starting on Saturday, we've got week 2 of 8 of these Merc's Golden Bounty blitzes, where you're going to have to blitz 5 times with these characters in order to earn gold. If you've got enough characters at high enough levels, you can start earning your Old Man Logan Awakened ability. But for most of us, this is just a little bit of free gold in our pocket for a pretty minimal investment. And as far as the actual events that we're going to be working on for next week, we've got the Unleash the Mercenaries. We're going to be using are Mercs for Money characters in Alliance War, and probably the higher star levels they are, the better they will actually be. You'll also want to spend your ISO 8 campaign energy, so make sure you're starting to save that up right now so that Monday when this event starts, you've got as much saved up as possible and you can really go haul ham on this event. All right, so as you can see, Daken is a 45 shard unlock, and we're going to be getting those shards pretty easily with this event. Now, it says Old Man Logan, if you've got him, his event just started today. That's 10,000 points right there. No star requirements, whatever. You just have to have him unlocked, which I'm hearing is a very, very easy unlock. So most players should. So that's 10,000 points right off the hop. You should have Panda Pool unlocked from last week's event. That's another 3,000 points. But there's also a play one war battle with a Merc for Money character for 2,000 points. There's no cap on that. You should have probably 3 or 4 of the characters unlocked. You're going to have time to do 3 different wars over the 7 days. So that's going to be a decent amount of points just right there, even without spending any ISO campaign energy. But honestly, that's at a 5-to-1 ratio, which also seems pretty good to me. And then if we take a look at the feeder event, and for this event, you're going to want to be spending Wasteland Road Trip energy. Unfortunately, it is only a rate of 1-to-1, so that's not great. But if you can spend 3,000 energy over 7 days, that's another 27,000 points towards the original event. You'll also get some mission supplies and L4 training modules, although not very many L4 training modules, but hey, every little bit helps. So what you need to unlock Daken is 45 shards. You're going to unlock that at milestone 13 with 66,000 points. You're getting 27,000 points from the feeder event, 10,000 points from Wolverine, and depending on how many Mercs for Money you've got using those characters in war, you're getting a ton of points that way. This looks like a very, very, very easy unlock. Now, you're only going to unlock them at 2 stars. That is the unfortunate part, but you will have this character pretty quickly. And in fact, once you unlock them, if you use them in war, that's another 3,000 points right there. So this event seems pretty good unless I'm totally missing something. I haven't cracked it down all the way. I'm just kind of giving it an initial glance, but it seems like it should be pretty reasonable to do. Now, the one thing I will mention is if you're like me and you've got your new warriors on defense in war, you definitely want to switch that up because you're going to want to take your death pool at very least, put her on offense so you can use her in the war because that could be worth as much as 6,000 points to you over the course of this week. So I'm going to make sure that I go do that right now, and you should do the same. There isn't an Alliance-wide event this week, so we're going to jump straight to the quick Rumble Blitz. It's going to be the new Avengers this time, so make sure you got those characters at as high star levels you can so you can get all the rewards you want from this incredibly boring event. All right, and that's it for the weekly blog and recap. It's been a pretty eventful week in Marvel Strike Force, and even though a lot of people are kind of disappointed with the Old Man Logan Trials, whether it be the stargating or the fact that it's just too easy, when I bumped it up to difficulty 12, yes, I spent a little bit of money on Iron Patriot. I actually had a really good time with this. We did this live over on twitch.tv/the Mongooli show. We had a good sized audience around for that, and we worked our way through it. Some of the modes were a little tricky. Some of the nodes were easier than I would have thought, but I actually did enjoy this quite a bit. I now have a 5-star Logan, and if the leaderboards treat me well, I might have a 6-star by the time this ends. So I'm not as upset as I thought I was going to be based off of the content creator reaction last night when this event first went live. I didn't get to watch a lot of the videos, but based on the headlines, people were pretty upset. I understand if you are. I understand if you're pissed off about the stargating. I get it. I just found myself having a good time with this event, and if I can walk away with a 5 or even a 6-star Logan at the end of it, I don't have much to complain about. Leave a comment down below if you disagree with that and you are really pissed off at some aspect of this. Maybe it's not as hard as you want it to be. Maybe it's a little too hard for you. Maybe you just really hate the stargating. Whatever it is, leave a comment down below. If you don't have anything to say about that, leave an emoji down below. Engagement helps the channel. I'd appreciate it. If you made it this far in the video, please consider hitting the like button. You probably did enjoy it. Let me know. Again, it helps out the channel immensely. And if you're not already, hit that subscribe button so you can see more great content. I will have an Old Man Logan trial unlock guide coming out in the near future, along with some funny bits to it. So if you're interested in that, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you know when that goes live so you can check that video out. I will also point out, over on my movie channel, I'm not going to be putting on this YouTube channel anymore. I don't want to dilute it. So I made a new movie channel, Mongooli's Movie Show, something like that. I'll leave a link down below. I had a conversation this week with Run 2007, where we went over my top 20 movies of all time. It was a really fun discussion. We did it live over at Twitch, but it's live on YouTube as well. So head over, give that channel a subscribe if that interests you whatsoever. Not this week coming up. This week I'm going to be live with Cleaning Agent, but the week after that, Runsound will be back with his top 20 movies of all time, and I'm very curious to see how that goes. We only had, I think, one movie on my top 20 that he was absolutely like, no, I can't stand that movie whatsoever, and even that led to just a fun conversation. So if you're interested in that, check that channel out. Other than that, Commanders, I hope you're safe, I hope you're well, and until next time, good luck to you.